Welcome to Ron Barry's Journal, and as you know, the CWA has been investigating a situation concerning one Professor E.W. Moore. Ron Barry and I, of course, were over in the Philippines trying to find out what we could about it, and so tonight, with the information we have, we will have a hearing here, and I'd like to introduce to my right is Don Stalling, who is the president of the CWA, and of course, Ron Barry. So, Ron, it's all yours.
Well, I think we ought to turn it over to Mr. Stawley and let him proceed with the hearing if we can.
We're here to discuss the grievances that was handed in by Ron Barry and Bob Garris against E.W. Moore. The plaintiff charges that Mr. Moore was malicious in the death of 3 foreign wrestlers and is guilty of murder. Mr. Moore does not follow the rules of the sport, and he also lied in concealing his identity. The plaintiff seeks and damages Mr. Moore being barred from the CWA rings. Also, a report issued to proper authorities to have Mr. Moore's wrestling license lifted in the United States.
Well, Mr. Stawley, as you know, when I first started doing this show, it was my understanding that everything would be open and above board. All of a sudden, Damian Kane came up with this manager, Professor E.W. Moore. I had never heard of Professor E.W. Moore. Most of our viewers have never heard of him. And all of a sudden, top management from the CWA informed me that E.W. Moore was not his real name, that his real name was Gino Gambino.
E.W. Moore.
I was then ordered by the top management of the CWA, along with Bob Garris, to take a trip to Manila to investigate the deaths of 3 wrestlers by the hands of one Gino Gambino.
They're still playing with this. I know. Still playing with this.
I was sent to Manila. I went to Manila.
I cannot believe
along with Bob.
This is what they wanted us for.
Kangaroo.
Damien, would you please let me finish?
Yeah, I finished. Yeah, I have a feeling I know what's going on.
As you know,
Part of the conspiracy.
as you know, Professor E.W. Moore's fingerprints were fed into a computer, as were the fingerprints that were taken some time ago of one Gino Gambino. And it was Gambino who killed 3 men in the ring.
This is ridiculous. This is totally ridiculous.
You will have your chance to speak. Let Mr. Barry finish his statement.
Can you believe it?
I think, in my honest opinion, that since the fingerprints match, E.W. Moore is Gino Gambino. There is no getting around that. If this man killed 3 men in the ring, he should be barred not only from the CWA, but from all of wrestling in general. I think his license should be lifted, and that's why I'm here.
Okay, this is totally ridiculous. Tell him, Gene. Tell him he's E.W. E.W., Professor E.W. Tell him.
Well, I want to say one thing.
How crazy and ridiculous this really is.
This is supposed to be the United States of America. I'm almost ashamed to be here, where a man can't go out and earn an honest living. Now, I'm here, an innocent man until proven guilty.
That's right.
By my peers. And I don't see on this kangaroo court anyone that could be my peer, my judger.
That's right. Just
I categorically deny any of these allegations, and I'll stand on my record.
That's right. The proof is there. The proof is there. The proof is there.
What proof do you have?
The man who killed the 3 people in the ring was fingerprinted at the police station in Manila. His fingerprints and your fingerprints are the same. You are that man.
No.
This is totally ridiculous. We can see right now what is happening here. D.C. Drake, sitting right next to you, is behind this entire conspiracy. He wants us out of professional wrestling so he does not have to worry about us. This is totally ridiculous, totally false. Totally false.
It's the only chance he has of ever getting a belt.
That's right.
Is to get me and every one of my stable
He is a paper
out of
champion.
the area, because he hasn't got the guts
He is
to
a
beat
paper
us.
champion.
Let the courts do what they want. But that is the squared circle.
That's right.
That's where I finish my problems.
That's right. Why is D.C. Drake here? What does this have to do with D.C. Drake?
I think
he is
D.C.
behind the entire conspiracy.
I think D.C.
He is the man who made Sweet Daddy White disappear. What happened to Sweet Daddy White?
I think D.C. should testify here.
Testify?
Yes.
Testify to what?
What was he in Manila?
That he is a
Just a
paper
minute.
champion
Just
who
a
is
minute.
afraid to face me in the
What was
ring?
he in Manila?
Just a minute.
What was he in Manila?
Let's,
Maybe he's Gino Gambino.
Let's all be civilized here. D.C. Drake will not make any rulings at this hearing.
What ruling?
I will make the decision on who's to stay and who's to go.
D.C.'s here because he was in Manila at one time and he knows what the country's all about.
Let's hear what he has to say. Did he see anyone kill anyone? Did he actually see anything that has to do with this man?
No, as Ron and I have spoke before,
Speak up,
I have
Wimp.
never seen,
Speak up, Wimp. I cannot hear you.
I have never seen, and I know nothing about Gene Moore, E.W. Moore, Gino Gambino, Damien Guy. I know nothing about what is going on in Manila with them. I was asked to testify here by Mr. Stalling on the charges that Mr. Moore made, that if the deaths did occur in the ring, it was because of improper medical care. Now, Ron, although I hate to do this to you, and I hate to go against your side, I must tell the truth. In Philippines and in all the foreign countries I've ever been to, and I believe I can speak about it because I have done quite a bit of travel in wrestling, the medical treatment and the medical care is nothing compared to what is done in the United States. You can walk into the ministry in Manila, get a wrestling license without ever having to see a doctor. You can walk into Italy, get a license without ever having to see a doctor. You are not examined before a match. You are not checked. The blood pressure, the heart is not checked before a match. It is very possible that Mr. Moore, if he is guilty of this, I'm not here to pass judgment on this, if he is guilty of committing these murders or committing deaths in the ring, I'm not going to call them murders, it's very possible that there was a medical reason, a medical defect in these wrestlers he went against.
Let me ask you one question. If this is the case, why are you coming down on Professor E.W. Moore, who knows nothing about it to begin with? But if that would be fact, why are you not going after the Philippines Commission? Why do you come to Professor E.W. Moore, the most respectable manager of professional wrestling today?
Mr. Kane,
Mr. Kane, yes.
I was just asked to testify here on behalf of what is going on. I
am here as representation for my manager.
That's all that's to be said. I'm just giving my opinion and what
opinion.
I see.
You concocted the entire story, Drake. Admit it.
Let me try and put this into perspective. DC, are you saying that those three guys would have lived had they had proper medical attention? I'm saying if these three wrestlers, I know nothing about their injuries, nothing about what did happen. I understand you told me, according to the paper, that there were crushing injuries which caused these deaths. Now, if the medical authorities were in control during these matches, it is very possible that these wrestlers may have been saved. But that's not more important than anything else, Ron. One of the most important things I found out during these foreign trips is that you are not checked before you get into the ring. You can go into a ministry in the Philippines and Manila and get your wrestling license just on your word that you are medically fit. In the United States, you have to undergo rigorous tests, blood tests. You have to undergo heart scans, brain scans.
In the
whole
Philippines
gambit of
and in the
tests.
entire continent of Europe,
I am not
when
saying-
you go into the ring, you are a man. You don't have to prove yourself except in that ring. That's where I came up, in the continent of Europe. I proved myself in the ring time after time, regardless of any medical test.
Well-
The United States is a cheap, low-life society where they make doctors, you pay doctors to do something that is totally unneeded.
Ron, as I said, I hated coming here and saying this. I did not want to say this. But as you know, I'm a truthful man. I have always told the truth and spoke the truth. And I feel that
You
when I
wouldn't
was
know the truth if it
asked
slapped you in
by
the face,
Mr. Stalling to show up here and give my opinion on the medical conditions in the Philippines, I'm giving you the truth. I had broken my nose in the Philippines. I suffered a severe concussion in the Philippines, and I was left go for the remainder of the tour I was on until I got back to the United States for medical treatment.
Well, I know what you're saying. I have to disagree with you, much as I dislike to, but I think maybe it's time for a decision, and I just
I've got one thing to say before he makes any type of decision. Mr. President. One thing I'd like everyone here to know. No one goes in that ring unless they sign a license and you sign a waiver. You know what you're getting into. If you can't deal with it, get out. If you can't stay in the heat, get out of the kitchen.
Get out of the kitchen, Drake.
The grievance was handed to me, and it was investigated, and
Is there any proof that it is a legitimate right?
I will render a decision.
Okay.
I might also add to your statement earlier, this will not be a kangaroo court. I am in charge of the CWA, and my decision will be final. Ron Barry will not have a final say. D.C. Drake will not have a final say.
Yes. Ron Barry, D.C.'s puppet. So what's the bottom line?
I have listened to both sides in this dispute concerning the allegations made by Ron Barry against wrestling manager and wrestler E.W. Moore, also known as Gino Gambino.
That's not proven.
Totally ridiculous.
The charges Ron made were very serious, and I was in charge of sending Ron and Bob to Manila to investigate these allegations. The evidence that Ron presented here today and on the wrestling shows are circumstantial at best. Even if Moore was guilty of causing the death of 3 wrestlers, no indictment or criminal charges were ever filed by any government agency.
That's right.
Mr. Drake also testified that the medical tests conducted in foreign countries are not consistent with our own in this country, and at times no tests were made before granting of a license. Again, if the deaths did occur, it is very possible there were medical reasons and that a proper test would have shown up if medical tests were done in this country. Fingerprints that Ron had presented is his only evidence worth noting. However, just because Ron had proven that Gene Moore and Gino Gambino are one and the same does not
Totally ridiculous. They were phony fingerprints.
Oh, stop it, Damien.
Listen to me. Does not bear no weight with me. Many wrestlers travel and use different names for reason known only to them. This does not condemn a man. In this hearing before me, it was incumbent on Mr. Barry to prove that Mr. Moore was without a doubt guilty of committing homicide. Mr. Barry did not do that. The newspaper articles are hearsay evidence, and there was never any criminal charges filed. What Mr. Barry sought here today from me was to have me lift the wrestling license of Mr. Moore and expel him from the Continental Championship Wrestling rings, as well as to submit a report to the National Wrestling Organization in an effort to bar Mr. Moore from ever competing in the United States again. What I find here is a personal problem between Mr. Moore and Mr. Barry. Mr. Barry does not approve of Mr. Moore's conduct in the ring, and it appears to me to be a personal vendetta to clean up wrestling. I commend Mr. Barry on his intentions. However, intentions, what is right, are not always clear-cut. In this case, if I find for Mr. Barry, this leaves open a legal can of worms for all people involved in this great sport to file these grievances just on personal dislikes. The evidence Mr. Barry produced does not even remotely support his charges. With that in mind, I cannot bar Mr. Moore from wrestling in the CWA.
Oh, I can't believe this.
Yes. Justice. Justice.
Let him speak. Let him speak.
I will not file any complaint or request to the National Wrestling Organization, and I will not keep Mr. Moore from managing. I will say this and take this as a warning, Mr. Kane.
Warning to me?
If I ever receive any further grievances against you or Mr. Moore, I will take swift action.
Swift action?
I and many others will be watching your bouts very closely. At this time the hearing is over, there'll be no appeals from either side on this decision.
I can't believe you're doing this.
We took it to the bank.
This man killed 3 people.
Did we think you owe Mr. Professor E.W. Moore an apology?
You'll get that,
Mr.
boy.
Nipplehead, you owe him an apology right here in front of everyone.
Mr. Barry,
apologize.
Mr. Barry, I will say to you at this time, if you do not like the decision, you keep your feelings to yourself out of the wrestling matches, or you will have to look for another job.
Yes.
Did we make someone look like
Put
a
him to
fool?
work, sweep
Did we
his
make
feet.
someone look like a fool? Did we make him look like a
You
fool?
haven't heard the end of this.
I heard the end.
You
Gambino.
You owe us an
Gambino.
apology.
You haven't heard the end of
You owe us
this.
an apology.
I've
Let's
had-
hear the apology. Did we take it? Did we take it to the bank? All right, baby.